I'm Tim. Welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. What you're looking at represents an unlikely combination. No, not the combination of a diving chronograph and a GMT. That makes sense, and it's useful and fun. No, the combination of Jaeger-LeCoultre, one of the top houses in high horology, with the U.S. Navy SEALs, also known as the ass-kickers who got Bin Laden. I have to admit that when this line, the JLC Navy SEALs, debuted in 2009, I was kind of scratching my head. I'm not sure what the natural relationship between those two organizations is. All I know is that in the 5 years since, JLC's made me a believer. Not only are the watches fantastic, not only is the co-branding subtle, but as a matter of fact, the SEALs do actually use the prototypes, the development prototypes, the models in their training. So between all the abuse that those guys are dishing out, as the end user, I feel pretty good about the watch that I'm getting. So let's take a look at what makes this Master Compressor Diving Chronograph GMT a special piece. Worthy of the U.S. Navy SEALs Warfare insignia on the back, one of only 1,500 issued, and also worthy of the JLC seal on the dial. The bottom line is, everything in this watch comes from JLC. They are the watchmaker's watchmaker. Well, you typically associate them with movement manufacturer for Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Cartier in the past. The bottom line is, they do okay as a pseudo mil-spec supplier too, with a ceramic bezel on a 46mm brushed titanium case and a light-on-dark dial, highly legible. This watch definitely pulls off the mil-spec look. And while it's not quite standard issue in the armed forces, you definitely get a feel that you're looking at a high-tech, high-durability, high-utility instrument that's at least worthy of the U.S. Navy SEALs name. And like a Ferrari, there's more capability here than you really need. So that's also the definition of luxury, and as a luxury watch, this basically satisfies on every level. So let's take a little look at the complications here, because this is a complicated watch, both a GMT and a chronograph. Now, once you activate the second time zone, you can see the skeletonized hand moving independently. Watch that little porthole above the cannon pinion, that little red circle. It's an AM/PM indicator for the second time zone. So you have that little cue right there. Well, not a true 24-hour GMT. The ability to know whether you're looking at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. makes it effectively as useful as a GMT, unless you're, strictly speaking, a commercial pilot. Also cool, the ability to line up and superimpose the local hours hand over that second time zone so that you can reduce the watch to standard 3-hand time on the center hands. Really cleans up the look of the dial, and on a highly complicated watch like this, which has a date, a chronograph, and a second time zone, the ability to clean up the whole assembly is a really nice touch. I like the simplicity of it. It's there if you want it, and not if you don't. It's a great option to have. And the bottom line is, JLC also incorporates one of the most imaginative constant seconds indicators in the business. There's this little semicircle down at 6 o'clock that has a shaded portion and a light portion, and basically in compliance with the ISO regulations governing the definition of a dive watch, you have to have some sort of constant operation reminder other than the chronograph seconds hand, so that you can see before you take the plunge whether the watch is actually turning over. It'd be kind of dangerous if you didn't, but it's not a second subdial. It's bigger, it's bolder, it's a shaded region that evolves as it revolves. So in my opinion, it's a better safety measure than simply having an almost invisible small constant seconds hand. And the dive theme continues. You have this unidirectional rotating bezel. If you want to time a second short interval right off the minutes hand, you have that option. Ceramic, very tough, very unlikely to scratch or mar. Unless you're a Navy SEAL, you're probably never going to put a mark on that. Just like the sapphire crystal really increases the value of the watch to me as a daily user. Now, the compressor crowns are JLC's own innovation. Rather than have a screw down that takes forever to open and close, kind of marginalizes the utility of a chronograph, which is supposed to be a stopwatch when you need it on the spur of the moment. You have that quarter turn shut, and you have that quarter turn open. And on the main crown, you have a half turn shut and a half turn open. Red you're dead, white you're tight. It's even color cued. That's an original system from JLC and very useful. Now, the crowns and the pushers are capped with natural rubber, so they're not likely to scratch or scuff, and they're also well protected, so they're not likely to damage your furniture or your walls, and at the same time, they are themselves protected from being disfigured. It's a nice touch, and it's cued to the bezel and the strap. so it goes well with the overall aesthetic of the watch. Highly legible. You've got all the standards here. You've got a GMT, you've got a date, you've got a chronograph. And let's talk a little bit about that chronograph. It is a JLC in-house chronograph movement. They designed and built this. Ceramic rotor bearings, winds a 65-hour power reserve, very hardy, laser welded hairspring, very tough to change the timing, to damage, to alter the rate of this watch or throw it off. So it does fit the bill as something a Navy SEAL might wear, perhaps not on the job, but in his spare time. This is a watch that definitely keeps him in character, and it's about as rugged as any civilian watch you can get in the luxury sector. All original case, the movement, the chronograph mechanism, all the complications, JLC designed and built. They're a fantastic company, and because so much of this watch encompasses their own engineering, you're not just getting a limited edition of 1500, but you're buying into a tradition of watchmaking that has been essentially the workshop to the Swiss watch industry since, well, their history goes back to the 1830s. So just like the Navy SEALs, a tradition dating back to 1962, JLC is a wonderful story with many long-running storylines and a great heritage. The bottom line is that this is a large watch, 46 millimeters. I would say it doesn't wear quite that large because it's made of titanium, so it sits light on the wrist. A size comparable, I would say, would be something like your 44 millimeter Royal Oak Offshore or your 44 millimeter Rolex Deep Sea Sea Dweller. Big but not gargantuan, not quite on the level of something like an Hublot 48 millimeter King Power. Again, sits fairly light because it's titanium, but you're going to want to check to make sure that the lug spacing works, which is why WatchYouWant.com, for large watches like this, and any watch in fact, offers a 7-day no questions asked return policy if you want to test. So if you're interested in taking the plunge, taking a bite, and seeing if the seals work for you, they do, but we'll see if the watch fits just as well. You can get this watch, try it on, no consequences, no obligations. WatchYouWant.com is flexible like none other. So check out this Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Chronograph GMT 46 millimeters titanium, one of only 1,500 made. GMT, chronograph, all in-house, Navy SEALs co-branded, titanium with ceramic bezel. This watch is full of toys, gadgets, and gizmos. See it in high-res photography on our website, WatchYouWant.com. I'm confident that when you see this watch with its full set of boxes, papers, and commemorative accessories, including a unique striped NATO strap, you will be convinced this is the diving chronograph GMT you want.